An executive order from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is prioritizing folks over the age of 65 to get the vaccine first. But there are some logistical hurdles hospitals must go through first, like making sure there's enough vaccines to go around. Right now, there are about 4 billion people in Florida who are at least 65 years old. Another obstacle would be distribution. There's also a post-vaccination watch period. At UF Health, they're keeping people 15 to 30 minutes after getting the vaccine to monitor for potential reaction.